Hello humans, I'm having a Stone Go-To IPA for the first time in a couple years, since a little bit after it first was released, and a whole bunch of session IPAs were coming out, and I liked it back then, and for some reason I've kind of avoided it, probably just because there's so many different exciting East Coast IPAs that have come out, but now it's in Tallboy cans for the same price as the 12-ounce bottles, which is awesome. And they are shipping the cans over here nice and fresh and preserved well in the can. This one was canned exactly 3 weeks ago. And it's a pretty darn good session IPA by a lot of people's standards. So let's see if I still like it. It's 4.8% alcohol, and it's not super high in the bitterness. I think they say 65 or something, whereas most Stone beers, they always say the IBUs are over 100 or something, and the Stone IPA, definitely the traditional regular old one, is very bitter. This one, they hop burst it, which is just shorthand for saying they throw in a lot of the hops, basically all the hops, at the end of the brewing process that prevents getting a whole bunch of bitterness. A lot of people don't think will work in a smaller session IPA. It doesn't have lots of malt to balance it out. There is a grocery list of hops I wrote down here in this beer, like a lot of Stone's IPAs. It's got a Tannum, Amarillo, Cascade, Chinook, Citra, Crystal, Magnum, Mosaic, Sterling, and Hopsteiner 06300, which I think is an experimental hop. But it has a lot of newer hops, cooler hops like Citra and Mosaic, and I guess Amarillo is kind of newer. So it's a different hop build, definitely, from regular Stone IPA. Almost more along the lines of the Stone Enjoy Buys, except those are double IPAs that are about twice as strong as this. And I like those, but they're still kind of sweet and a little bit old-fashioned. I'm expecting to enjoy this one for some reason. They didn't say the what malts they use in this one, but I think it's mostly pale malt. Yeah, it's very light colored, but very clear. I'm smelling it already, though. It's got a pretty nice big aroma. Yep, super clear. My glass is not super clean, again. But I think it'll work out. Yeah, I'm getting lots of nice aroma. Oh yeah, definitely the Mosaic and Citra and the Amarillo are coming out pretty strong from that aroma. The Crystal is having some effect probably too, but there's just a big pile of hops in here. And a Tannum, I think, can give an extra oomph of berry and melon flavors. And the smells a lot like cantaloupe. It smells like this. Actually, I have this orange honeydew. I think it's orange honeydew juice from Trader Joe's in my fridge, and the aroma, this reminds me of that a little bit. And of course, it's got some sort of spicy resinous quality too in there. But yeah, it smells a lot like some of the best and better session IPAs out there that aren't worrying too much about having a toasty, sweet caramely malts, which I'm not a huge fan of most of the time, as you may have realized if you've watched a lot of my reviews. And that's a really nice aroma. It doesn't quite get in the weird green onion sort of edge of hops. It stays very bright, melony, citrusy with very unripe, chalky, peppery, tropical notes. And a little bit of a candyish sort of thing happening too. A little bit of a cotton candy bubblegum, which I noticed from these newer hops like Mosaic and Citra. I bet they use those a lot in this beer. More body and sweetness than I expected. It carries on that fruity candy flavor. Like, almost tastes like taffy to me. And there's a little bit of a very, very slightly toasty malts, like Cheerios in this one. And the finish has some bitterness, even just from one sip. And there's a little bit of a more of a woodier, smokier, resinous quality in the flavor too that reminds you this is a stone beer. It still hits you pretty good with the bitterness and the resinous quality. And there's some lingering prickly pine on the tongue I'm noticing, especially now. Yeah, it's a lot spicier in the flavor, even though there's a little noticeable amount of malt sweetness. The aroma is much fruitier than the flavor, I would say. It's refreshing, but I don't know if I would say this is crushable. The bitterness from 3 sips is building up, but I still want to keep taking more though. But it's still really drying out my tongue with the hop resins really quickly. It's got that earthy, dirty, woody thing that I noticed from a lot of different Stone IPAs, not just their main IPA, but the regular Stone IPA is the one that's least palatable to me. I still notice some elements from that one. It's this earthiness that just kind of is woody and scrapes your tongue with the hop alpha acids, with the bitterness. I think the Stone and Joy By actually is a little bit milder on the bitterness, but there's just so much sweet body. I wish they would do a Stone and Joy By that's not 9.4% alcohol or whatever it is. Something that's, super fresh and fruity and a little bit bigger on the dry hopping. But with this beer, they say they didn't even really use many bittering hops, but maybe it's just the combo. Maybe they lean really heavily on like the Chinook hops. I really notice the Chinook. I think that's what's bringing in that scrapey, woody, earthy bitterness. And I think they use Chinook hops in almost all of, or not all, but maybe most of Stone's IPAs. That's the kind of bitterness that is their hallmark. Yeah, this is one that's definitely made for people who want that still blast of intense scraping bitterness from the West Coast style that Stone does especially well. But the aroma on this I really like. I could sort of smell some spicy resinous qualities that made me guess it was going to be this bitter, but it's so fruity and has so many interesting candy-like notes in the aroma that I'd say that, yeah, this is probably currently maybe my favorite Stone beer. I haven't tried some of their other new pales like the Ripper. I should probably try that one, but that one looks really dark and amber and maybe not so up my alley, but they call the Ripper just a pale ale, so I might like that more because anything Stone calls an IPA is pretty intense with the hops and bitterness. But the aroma on this is just really good, so I'm giving 80, something like that. I don't know if I'm going to buy another 6-pack of this stuff because I'm not always in the mood for that much intensity, but this would definitely go well with some like really spicy food, something that you want a refreshing drink to go with it, but you want it to still be able to stand up to it. This would probably go really well with like buffalo wings because you can drink a lot of it and be refreshing, clean all that spiciness and fat off your tongue, but it's still got a bold enough flavor and bitterness to not just taste like nothing next to buffalo wings. Oh great, I'm gonna make buffalo wings soon. Oh yeah, 80 or something for Go To IPA. Goodbye.